Okay, we're on Module 2, Lesson 1, Interpret Rational Numbers, and we're going to be doing on your own. Bank statement shows transactions of negative $10.40 and $8.50. And we're going to use that information for parts A and B. Part A, do these transactions represent deposits or withdrawals? Select the words from the drop-down list to correctly complete the descriptions. You need to do the hint. A withdrawal takes money out of the account, and a deposit adds money to your account. Withdrawal is represented by a negative number. So negative $10.40 represents a withdrawal because according to this, it needs to be a negative number. $8.50 represents a deposit. Let's check. There we go. Part B, how can you use absolute value to decide which transaction represents the greater change? Select the words from the drop-down list that correctly complete the explanation. So let's go ahead and read it before we look at the hint this time. After I find the absolute value of each transaction, I can compare them to see which absolute value is more negative, smaller, or larger. Let's look at our hint. The change is the difference in the account balance before and after the transactions. Absolute value gives the magnitude of change without regard to the direction. So remember, magnitude means the same thing as absolute value. Everything will come out positive. Okay, so we have larger because the question was, how can you use absolute value to decide which transaction represented the greater change? So we wanted to see which one absolute value was larger. Let's look at next. Two deep sea divers are exploring shipwrecks in Lake Erie, one of the Great Lakes. We're going to write the depth of the shipwreck as an integer. What is the absolute value of the depth of the shipwreck? So if we look at our hint, the integer is the actual depth of the shipwreck. The absolute value is the number's distance from 0. So if we look up here, our integer is negative 200 feet, and then the absolute value is 200 feet. Use the number line to graph the opposite of the given number. So the opposite of negative 3.25 is positive 3.25. So we go right there. Here's our hint. The opposite of a number has the opposite sign of the given number, and graph the opposite number on the other side of 0. We're going to do the same thing here. Use the number line to graph the opposite of the given number. It's really important that you read the directions because you may just accidentally plot 0.25 instead of negative 0.25. Use the number line to graph the opposite of a given number. So we have 0.25, 0.5, 0.75. We're on the negative side because that's negative 1.5. Positive 1.5 is all the way over here. Graph each number and its opposite on the number line. So all of these have the same denominator. So we should be able to put them on quite nicely. Here's our hints. Start by plotting the numbers given. Then we're going to do the opposite of a number. So our first one is negative 1 and 2/10. So negative 1. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Negative 1 and 1/10. Negative 1 and 2/10. Negative 5/10. So 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10. We have 3/10. So 1, 2, 3, and 9/10. Now we're going to do the opposite. So positive 1 and 2/10. So 1 and 2/10. We have, instead of negative 5/10, we have positive 5/10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead of 3/10, we have negative 3/10. 1, 2, 3. And instead of 9/10, we have negative 9/10. So right there. That one, there's a lot of dots on that one. We're going to find the absolute value of the number. So we're going to hit this little fraction button, and that's how we're going to get it. So the absolute value of 6/5 is 6/5. Find the absolute value of the number. Enter the correct number. So the absolute value negative 5 of negative 5.10 is 5.10. And our last one, our absolute value. We need to do this one right here. That's a mixed number. So we have 2 and 3 over 4, because the opposite of negative 2 and 3/4 is 2 and 3/4. Okay, you hit done, and you're done with that section.